There we go. We're back. What were we needing to record?
We're back.
We're talking about the name of our mammoth. Is there a name?
So behind John Mark, we have our mammoth, and yeah, I'm not going to introduce the guest yet, but we should go around and say if we have a name
For yourself?
No, for the mammoth. For the mammoth.
I feel like it should be like Bert.
Okay.
David?
That's pretty solid.
Oh, you can talk.
Yeah, because that is my nickname. Go for it.
You're serious?
Yeah, in
Oh,
high school.
man,
in high school, that was my name.
I think that just happened. All right,
Bert's the
Bert.
mammoth.
Bert the
I
mammoth.
heard that in the previous podcast, and I just went, "Yes, John.
Well,
yes."
I think I said Bertha.
You said you didn't like it.
No,
you
you
said
didn't like
big.
Bertha.
Then you end up saying Bertha. Then you said Big Bertha, and then you said other things. But Bert, I love it.
Nailed it.
It is
All right.
Bert.
Well, welcome to another episode with Bert, John Mark, myself, John McGovern, and Preston Seibert. Our guest is David Seibert,
Wow.
Preston's dad,
Oh.
and also nicknamed Bert.
That's right.
Well,
We're gonna have to figure out what that story is from. You don't strike me as a bird. Sorry.
Well,
I was going to make a joke. I'm like, yeah, we have our guest today, David Seibert. We've been friends for a few years, but known each other my entire life.
Honestly, it's kind of how kids work.
That's how kids work. Yes.
Yeah.
But
well, welcome back. I think we're on episode 8.5 now, if I'm keeping track right. We tried to start counting last week, but
Are
A
you
whole
saying eight?
amendment section is going to be us trying to get the number right.
are you saying 8.5 because of that one time where we had to stop and start over again? Because it is 8, but 8.5 is because we stopped.
Yeah.
One.
Yep.
And then you said part 2,
yes.
so 8.5.
So, welcome to the Audacious Playground. Things are better here. We don't have episode 8, we have 8.5.
8.5. Welcome to Audacious Playground. Life is a playground God has given us. It's meant for building, creating, risking, failing, learning, and becoming. Here, we tell the stories of people who are living audaciously, so you feel the permission to play too. Come play with us on this Audacious Playground.
But to get us going, let's go around the horn. What do we got going on over the last week since we got together?
And your name,
John Mark,
John Mark Buckner.
go for it.
Here, what's been going on? Our U.S. Space Force event in Waco is happening in a couple weeks. Bringing in General Purdy and a whole bunch of procurement staff. I was on the phone with NASA this morning,
Sure.
tying in some of their Kennedy Space Center procurement officers. So there's a lot of growing interest in the American industrial base and how can Waco and Texas participate in that. It's exciting.
I will say, I think that is the definition of audacious. I was talking to NASA this morning.
I'm trying to interact with people that are way above me. And so the first 5 minutes of the call, I'm like trying to be like as self-defacing as possible. And so to break the ice, and Michelle was like in the kitchen next to me. I have the AirPods in, and I was making some joke about how I've never been to Florida, and she was looking at me out of the corner. And
You've been in Florida?
I've never been to Florida.
Whoa.
I know. So you can do a whole episode about that someday.
I think we
But,
have a remote recording coming up in our future.
I know. Let's go.
Yes, at Cape Canaveral.
We'll love to see it. So yeah, that's been a big part of my world, is organizing relationships and contacts for that. We announced Gwen Shotwell, CEO of SpaceX, is going to be coming and talking at our event. So that was a huge win. And then real estate development downtown Waco. Everything is moving and grooving. Been in conversations with the city to help build office space downtown. And I came straight to here from reading books to second graders at Brook Avenue Elementary School. So a little bit of everything, y'all. And the tension of trying to do a lot is making me feel anxious at moments. And I texted Blake Foster, said it's his birthday. Happy
Shout
birthday,
out Blake.
all
Happy
four.
birthday.
And I
Happy
said,
delayed
I'm
birthday,
feeling
Blake.
overwhelmed.
Oh, yeah, 2 week delayed birthday. Yeah.
And Blake's response was, this tension that you're feeling is just proof that you're really in it. and not like rather than like, oh, you're gonna get through this. It was like you're doing it. Like this is the end goal. Like this is it. You're feeling tension because that is it. And that's given me motivation today just to double down and keep living.
I love it talking with rocket scientists and then going and helping people get to the 3rd grade reading level.
Yeah.
The modern day Renaissance man.
Modern day.
Yeah, and it can seem abstract. I think if you zoom out far enough, there is a correlation for workforce development, education. At the end of the day, if you really are going to make a change in the world, it comes in the youth. It comes in our education system. It takes extreme vision to be able to see that because it's not fruit you see quickly. I mean, you can organize a big event and email off to a whole bunch of famous CEOs and maybe they'll show up. And you could do that in less than a year, but like changing our education system is going to take decades and lifetimes. It takes one mentoring relationship at a time. So the people who are in that mentoring world, the education, I think those people are having incredible impact. And we need to also be thinking about that.
And that's
Shout out to
that's
our
a plug.
teachers.
Well, a plug for Stars Book Club.
Yep.
If you're listening in Waco
It's great.
and you want to impact the community. Is that right?
Yeah, Stars Book Club. Go do it. It's
Go do
amazing.
it.
All right.
Wow.
I usually always go
Yeah,
clockwise. So
you should
David,
go-
you're up next.
But
How's your last
should
week
you go
going?
last and
You
we
can
go
say-
into it?
I always go clockwise.
Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah.
You just say your name, what you've been doing this last week, and we'll come back to your story in a minute.
Yeah.
Okay. David Seibert. And so I work for the Museum of the Bible. I'm the lead development officer there right now. And so last week I was in Phoenix at a major fundraiser at one of our donors' homes in Phoenix. And then I went to Tucson, Arizona, where we spent 4 days at a really high level donor event at Dove Mountain resort, and it was amazing. We had great turnout. We had about probably 45, 46 couples there.
Wow.
Got to share about the museum. Steve and Jackie Green were there. Our president, Carlos Campo, was there. And we had 4 days of great speakers and people that just love the Lord and are given generously to the museum. So it was a good week last week.
Wow. And who are you married to? Well, sorry, we'll get back to that. I apologize. Sorry.
Your mom.
Hey, you shut up.
Mother's Day is this weekend. I hope you're ready for this.
Your mom.
Couldn't resist that one.
Dang it. I walked right into that.
I half thought it was on purpose.
No,
I
no,
knew
that
there were
was
different ways to answer that, so I didn't answer
that
it.
was complete. I walked into it.
All right, young Seibert.
Anyway.
How about you for the last week?
I've not talked to rocket scientists. But this last week, I commenced my 2-week run of Noble Photo Booth. So I had 10 photo booth events in 2 weeks. So that was a lot.
Wild.
But hey, thankful for our photo booth. And
Equilibrium.
yeah, I mean, just getting meetings and demos with more record labels, and we'll be doing a hard launch soon on the podcast. I think
Yeah.
we'll talk about Equilibria, and we'll
But
probably
pretty
do a
big.
whole thing about Builder HQ. Oh yeah, and we have so I have 2 record labels right now that are in demo process, so they're signed up and
Getting there.
putting their songs in and starting to give feedback, which is huge.
Very positive feedback so far,
very
which is
positive
awesome.
feedback. Yeah, so
Gary's crushed it.
and then I'm going to Franklin May 19 and 20, and I have a lot of meetings set up. So
Which is
by the
about
time
this is
by
gonna
the time
air.
this comes out, I will
Yeah.
have just gotten back
So
from.
go get him, future Preston.
The 3 of us had a meeting last week with a AI investor at Dallas, a guy named David
Yes.
Evans.
Thank you.
I've been just bringing that up because thinking about Equilibria, Builder HQ, and how are you able to build something and then so quickly get in front of these record labels? And I think because AI could just be another software, and everyone's right out there goes like, buy my AI, buy my AI, my LLM. But you have great relationships, Preston. You know their pain points, and you're not coming in saying, here, do you want to buy the software? It's like, I see your pain points. I want to take care of that.
Yeah.
And that's where you're getting traction.
I'm very thankful, and a lot of those relationships come through my dad, which we'll get to. But
Ooh, wow, good
that's me.
tie.
Yeah.
And John, do tell. Pray thee.
Yep. Still a lot of programming going on. So a lot of things on the AI front. So we have Gary who's crushing it, and Vicky. Vicky wasn't getting a lot of progress over the last week and a half.
My
'cause
dad's probably like, who are these people?
What in the world?
They're not people. Don't call them people.
Vicky is the Mac Mini over there on the desk.
Honestly, if we could get one sponsor for this podcast, it would be Hobby Lobby, so that we can go buy googly eyes
And
for
put them on our Mac Minis.
Well, we
Vicky
probably can
and
get
Gary can have
40% off right now because there's always something.
Probably can.
We would love a $1.62 donation from Hobby Lobby to buy googly eyes.
Steve Green, if you're listening, we will take the investment from the Green
I will
Green
make that
Foundation.
donation right now.
I love it. That's perfect.
Sponsored by.
This episode is sponsored by Hobby Lobby. Not a sponsor.
I think worth talking about this week is my LinkedIn feed.
Okay.
See a lot of posts on LinkedIn. Been hanging out there a little bit more and posting information and stuff. And I've had Vicky help me construct some posts and share information. And over the last week, I've realized that it feels like, I will say feel because I don't know if it's 100% and statistics are always overstated, but literally every post is not human generated anymore. Like, and if you're in it enough, you can feel it. Like I literally feel it. Like this was not written by this person. Like they had input, there's like some tweaks or something, but it's like this thought process didn't actually come from this person. And it was a little convicting. But also I think inspirational. Like there's an important point of there's information that needs to get out, and it helps do that of like technical information and sharing things like that. But most of the posts on LinkedIn are intended to get attention, like bring attention to my business or like optimize the algorithms or whatever. So they're primarily clickbait. It's massive statements of like the world will never be the same, or like we cracked the code of, or
The American hyperbolic statements.
yeah, whatever it might be. So just like recognizing that, taking a minute and praying, like, how do you engage in that? Because there'll be more of that as we go, and there's more access to AI. Like just taking a step back and looking at the human element. So that's kind of what my thought process has been this week, and looking at like, what does it look like? AI is an amazing tool, but it's a tool to do what? It allows us to engage better with the human element, I think, when it's deployed really well. So that would be my weekly around the horn thought for today.
Couldn't have said it better without myself.
Now, I would love to hear about any amendments
Amendments.
for the week. And
I don't have
we were
any.
asking, was there one? And then prior to we hit record on this podcast, turns out there was one that needs to be
There's
said.
not.
Yeah.
There's not.
What is it, John?
John has
I've got
John has a bone to pick.
Which is
on Taylor Vieger's podcast. We talked about monolithic art and monoliths, and
heavy eye rolls from Preston.
yeah, you're not watching the video feed. And this is, I'm admitting, this is like totally left field. It should not have to be clarified. But I had a professor in college that made a point about what monolithic is, and it is a singular slab or singular unit. And yes, it is very large. But
Fine, but in principle,
no.
something can find itself to be monolithic-esque. Can it not? No, just answer the question.
In art, yes.
Thank you.
Taylor, get in the comments.
Yeah, Taylor hopped in the comments. But
Yeah, put in the comments if you think Preston is wrong.
But I think it's like, I feel like a decent amount of our
Trending.
clarifications are just the like off camera, like, did you wrong? Which is I think almost a daily occurrence.
Well-
which is a healthy thing, in my opinion. Like you need to have partners
true.
that are like, hey, I don't think you're right on that. You said what?
That's true.
Oh, actually, that is probably true. I'm not as right as I think I am.
Okay.
Talking
hold
about
on.
somebody who is right, though.
Do you mind? Do you
David
mind if I intro?
Seibert.
Do you mind if I do the intro?
Yeah.
So
You
I've
want
known
to?
him.
Because we haven't said his name yet in this podcast.
Yeah. So David Seibert. You. David is my dad, and I've known him for 38 years. Okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna quickly read through a resume because David is officially our oldest guest.
Wow, Bird.
Taylor is second. He was 46, so geez, that's an old man. But Dad, you have a lot of you sent us your resume, and I'd like to say that on our agenda paper, this is our first 3-pager. So
That's because I've lived a lot longer than you have. A lot of life and a lot of audacious things have happened.
Thank you. Exactly. Okay, so currently,
Buzzword.
you are lead development officer at Museum of the Bible.
Which means what?
Well,
For those
we'll get
listening
to it. We'll get to it. I'm just reading through.
Okay.
And before that, you're the VP of Missions and Ministry at the Lukens Company out of DC. And you started Clear Day Media Group. And before that, Director of Business Development at Lifeway in Nashville. And then before that, the President and CEO of Visual Entertainment. Hello, John. Welcome back. And before that, Director of Retail Sales and Marketing, Nest Entertainment. That is a correction from a few weeks ago. I said my dad was the president of Nest. He was not. He's the Director of Sales and Marketing.
Way to go, low Preston.
Yeah, thank you. And my mom actually called me out on that.
Good job.
I don't know. The monolith correction was more important.
But these are all things that you've done, and there have been a lot of other things. But we're going to go back to where were you born, but not talk about like all of your youth, and then jump kind of. You're born in Beaumont, Texas. Kind of tell me a little about that, and then getting to university. So
Okay, first of all, before we get started, I want to let you all know that I listened to the podcast. I think it was you, Preston, on your podcast telling your story. And before you got started, y'all were talking about AI, and you were talking about, where it's going, and then Preston, I think you said, wouldn't that be cool if AI could determine if somebody was going to commit a crime?
that was John
And
Mark
then
said it.
John said, there ought to be a movie like that.
Yeah, we were joking.
But there is.
Oh, we know, Dad. It's called Minority Report.
But nobody said that.
Because we all knew that it was a joke.
But what I
Have you ever heard of this guy named Thomas Cruise?
But what I didn't know is that the agent
John,
was called Vicky.
no,
The agent-
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
The agent in the show is called Vicky.
John, we lost John again. The agent was called Vicky.
Okay.
Okay, so
So
okay,
that's
continue.
what
About his
his
computer
computer
over there.
is. Vicky?
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
So John's
Okay,
AI
so
computer's
I just
named
didn't
Vicky.
get the. I didn't get the. I
no
didn't
relation
get the
to our Vicky.
tongue-in-cheek. There should be a movie. Okay, I was thinking there is a movie like that.
Yes, we were being very facetious
Okay, I got
about
it. I got it. Okay.
Okay,
All
but
right.
so you were
Anyhow.
born in Beaumont, the thriving metropolis of Beaumont, an
Yes.
oil zone, baby.
Yeah. So, Beaumont, Texas, most of the people worked by the way, Jason's Deli
I was going to say that.
started in Beaumont, Texas.
Shout out to Jason's
in
Deli.
1974.
John is not on camera, but he looks surprised. But if you are a
not know
frequenter
this.
of Antioch Church in Waco, and you know Jimmy Seibert, David's brother, it's at least once a year a shout out from stage. Jason's Deli, birthed in Beaumont, Texas.
He's like, what we're known for, Jason's Deli.
Yeah, I went to the very, very first one.
I've been there too.
Oh, yes,
The
you
one in that
have.
shopping center or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, Gateway Shopping Center. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, a lot of people worked for the refineries in the Port Neches, Port Arthur area, and so that's where my father worked in one of those refineries there. So I got to participate in working there. So that
Really?
was an
Like,
interesting.
what
yes.
age?
So
This is some of my favorite stuff.
so
You're 12 years
anybody-
old, 11,
No, anybody that was over
covered
that
in
was
oil,
out of
walking out of
high
the ocean.
school.
12-year-old David Seibert.
It's Dad's like the duck in the Dawn commercial.
Beaumont, Texas.
Beaumont, Texas.
Straight
Hey,
from the
check
ocean
this
to
out.
Jason's Deli.
87. I got to work
This
there.
is absurd.
And back then, so it's 1977,
No OSHA.
$11 an hour. 1977.
It's like the same-
I don't know what that is. It may be $100 an
Yeah,
hour
that's
today. I don't know. It was a lot of money. And so I signed up to work during the summers.
In
And
Beaumont.
I think this was before OSHA was even
Oh,
existed or something,
100%.
because they would stick me down in these big refinery. They're huge. They're probably 100 feet by 100 feet and probably 100 feet deep. And there was a ladder in there, and they put me with oxygen mask, and they just put me down this little hole, and then they would give me a water hose, and I'd sit there for 4 hours in the dark, spraying chemicals everywhere, And so
And this is the summer in Beaumont, which is not the
it was
summer.
so hot. It was like 100 degrees. I sweat through all of my jeans, all of my
100 degrees
clothes.
outside of the tank.
Correct. There was no air conditioning in that.
So what? Probably like 115, 120.
Yes, it was hot.
How
I would go
old
down
were
there
you?
2 hours at a time, and they'd pull me
17,
up,
16.
and I'd drink some water, and then they'd pull me back down.
I'm going to change my previous statement. That was not enough money.
Yeah. So
were you 16 or 17?
17.
17, yeah.
This
Yeah,
is like
yeah.
the summer. And what'd you do with
I
that?
did it 2 summers in a row because I was just like, this is money, man. I'm going to go for it. I had no idea that I don't know what chemicals I was getting, inhaling or whatever.
Wait, you're 17 years old, 2 summers in a row. What did that money mean to you then? What were you wanting to do with it?
What most teenagers do with their money.
Which is?
Spend it on records and stereo equipment and stuff like that,
I think you had a
You got favorite-
Volkswagen, right?
Yeah.
Did you
Yeah,
have
so
And I got an 8-track player to put underneath my Volkswagen
Yes.
dashboard, So
Yeah.
yes, the important things of life.
Yeah, favorite record?
Oh gosh,
What's
favorite record out of what era? The 70s, I guess.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a good question because I still have all my albums.
No,
Dude,
really?
my dad is a connoisseur of amazing music.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking this question because I'm
Yeah.
like, I bet you've got.
I had some great albums, man. I'm just trying to think of. I will just say Earth, Wind, and Fire is one of my favorite. I think I got
Yeah.
like 4 of their albums.
Okay.
Solid.
Yeah,
Man. And you saw Jackson 5 in Beaumont.
1974. It was Michael. It was the Jacksons, not Michael Jackson.
Not
It
even
was the
Jackson 5.
Jacksons, and then the Commodores were the backup
Richie.
with Lionel Richie.
Wow.
Nice.
And so, it was pretty sweet, pretty nice.
So you played football in high school in quarterback.
Yes.
And you're pretty good, but your team was not. And so you got a
I
lot
was in the
of
hospital many nights
negative
lunging
rushing
that up.
yards.
What's
But
that?
you got a lot of negative rushing yards because no one could block. But you were a
Correct.
great athlete, and so
Wait,
thus,
whoa.
oh,
What position did you play?
quarterback.
Quarterback.
You were a quarterback? I did not know that.
Not at Baylor, at high school.
Oh,
at
okay.
what was
Yeah,
the school
yeah.
called?
Well, at the time it was called Forest Park High School, but it's now Westbrook High
Westbrook,
School.
Beaumont.
Yes.
Shut up.
Yes.
And so you're like, I'm going to go to university. Your older brother went to Baylor, Uncle John.
Yes.
And so tell us about that.
Well, I did have some schools talk to me and I didn't want to. One was in Louisiana, one was Oklahoma, and there was some track scholarship possibilities. But I did have Baylor, the defensive back coach, did talk to me and said, "Hey, we don't have a scholarship, but would you be willing to walk on?" And I thought, well, my brother goes to Baylor. I'll go to Baylor. I'll walk on, And so I did. I walked on at Baylor and got a scholarship from Grant Taffet my freshman year.
No
that was
way.
77.
77.
And
yeah.
who was the star linebacker that year? Michael Singletary.
Wow.
He just
That's awesome.
So, okay, obviously we talk a lot about Audacious Playground, like living for God, and obviously, during that time, like you knew about God, but you were not walking with God. So you come into Baylor, and what begins to happen what are you studying at Baylor, and what happens in football, and how do you meet with God, and what the first kind of real
Sure.
life outside of home challenges that start to happen?
Yeah. So yeah, I'm coming to Baylor to play football. Girls and football. That's the only thing I'm concerned about at the time. And got the scholarship. I'm thinking, okay, we're good. But I had a guy come share the gospel with me my freshman year in my dorm, and he was talking to me about it, and I was like, yeah, that sounds good. And I didn't respond. Then he came back to me a couple weeks later and shared it again, and I don't know. The Lord just kind of spoke to me at that point, and I just said, I need this. I need to get my life together. I need God. So accepted the Lord then, but it wasn't too long after that. So here you got your dreams coming true. I had at the time, I came to the Lord a few months later, I had when I was at football in the spring of '78, I had St. Louis and Philadelphia come talk to me after practice because they were seeing some things, and I thought, "This is awesome." Then I got my ACL. I tore my ACL, and back then
Practice a game. What was
it
the?
was practice, and
That's a very tame story.
yeah, it's another story there. But anyhow, back then they don't repair your ACL; they just took it out. So you don't have so you have a posterior and anterior cruciate that keep your legs from buckling, right? Well, they took one out, and so I just had to do a lot of weight lifting on my leg to try to just if I would play tennis for like an hour, my legs would get weak, and then all of a sudden my legs would just buckle when I'd be playing, just buckle, you know? So it wasn't until 25 years later that technology came into play that when we were in Nashville that I had it repaired and now I have a real knee. I can run around on it.
Well,
I
you're
can
joking
walk
about this
again.
now, but like,
Can
what
walk.
were you feeling then? Was that just
Yeah.
the end?
Yeah,
Felt
that was
like,
Well, see, that's the thing. So, came to know the Lord.
Yeah.
6 months later, get a scholarship. Then I tear my ACL, and then it's like every dream, everything that I was dreaming for and about
mhm.
is gone. And so it's like, all right, where do we go from here? So at that point, as a young believer, it's kind of like, God, why would you do this? Why would you allow this to happen? Um, so those were interesting times, but I had wonderful roommates around me that love the Lord, and they just encouraged me. And so Baylor was a great experience, and so I just got my BBA in marketing and business. So
What was
all worked out.
Waco like
in the
back
70s.
then? Yeah.
In 1977,
Tell us about downtown Waco in
Yeah, because
1977.
we talk about Waco a lot and
yes.
where it's going and where it has been going the past
How we're
kind of
believing
10
for it.
plus years. Yeah,
Well, I
believing
can just tell you where we're sitting right now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't walk over here during the day in 1977.
Okay.
It was not a good place. You didn't go to Cameron Park in the daytime.
of where John Mark lives.
Yeah, that's where I live now.
Yeah, exactly. It was so you had Baylor, and then across the highway you have the downtown area. The only thing I would do is come across town and go to Whataburger to get some late night food and then walk back. But that was about as far as you went.
And this is you played at Floyd Casey Stadium.
So I had to drive out to
Yeah,
the stadium
down in
for
Dutton.
every day for practice. So that's it's changed. So you got to remember that. What is that? 40 years ago?
Yeah.
Something?
Over 40 years.
Over 40 years ago.
Almost
That's
50.
a long time. A lot of life can happen between
Yeah.
now and then.
All of
Well, then and
Preston's
now.
life
All
has
of my
happened
life.
in that time period.
I was not born in
Exactly.
77.
Exactly.
Not that old.
Exactly.
So you're in Baylor, and John Mark, John, you can say anything too, because you can.
Because you're here for the moment, so your internet breaks out again. You disappear.
We're gonna, and obviously you meet my mom, your mom. Thanks a lot. And you're living in Dallas, and I'm skipping through a few things. You're working in life insurance, correct? Yeah. Sorry, go, John. Go.
First, before we move on, that season, I think most people have what you described in their life, where we have the dreams, we have visions of where we think we're going, and then like a wrecking ball comes in. What did that look like for you? Because you're like, yeah, that was an interesting season. It was a good season. Like, usually that's where the roots really grow deep. Is there anything
Sure,
in there in
absolutely.
that season that you lean back on or you look back to say that was a pivotal moment in my life and a decision that I made there?
Yeah, we came from a pretty dysfunctional home. So anything that happened bad, just kind of like, okay, you just kind of go with it because you don't know anything different. So when this hit, yes, it was a dream that I had, and it was basically crushed. But I personally, I just don't let those things bother me. They will, and I think about it sometimes if it comes up, but it's not anything that's like, oh, I can't function, I can't go forward. So as a new believer, I'm like, okay, Lord, I don't get it, I don't understand, but let's go. What's the next step? Let's go to the next step. I don't know what it is. So that's what I did. I just went to the next step. And my next step was, all right, let's see if I can graduate in 4 years, because I was taking a light load.
Mhm.
Football took up 12 hours a day. So it's just like, it was hard to study. So I just went to summer school and I graduated in 4 years,
Wow.
So I just kind of moved forward. Now, were there times that I was at a football game and going, I could have got that tackle.
Yeah.
I could have done that. I could have, those things come up. But other than that, no, I just kind of move forward.
That's good.
Yeah.
But I think that set the precedent for, I mean, how you've lived and what you've taught us too. Just, yes, these hard things are going to happen. Just, yeah. And not to get so grand right now, but that's something I've always looked up to you for, is just your ability to weigh everything equally with the goodness of God. It's like, it is painful and acknowledge the pain, but continue to move forward. And I think, and that's probably where I've gotten a lot of that from. So
I'm glad to hear
I'm
that.
thankful for
That's
that.
good. That's good. Well, people process and need to process grief differently and hardships and those, and that's legit. So, you don't want to discount that in some people, but I just can't hang on there too long. I got to keep going forward.
Yeah.
I'm thankful for that.
I think that is a very good thing to point out of when you're in those moments. It's not a ignoring, but it is a like, okay, but what's next? Dealing with it when it comes. But yeah, that's incredible.
Well, hold on.
I'd-
Real quick, the Baylor thing. I realized when I was looking over all this stuff yesterday, I'm like, wow, we really do, like, our family really does have a legacy in Waco that I haven't really like considered.
Right.
Because, like, I mean, starting with Uncle John, for his senior project was the Bear Trail. So
Which everybody still uses today.
Which is getting paved, like, as we speak.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're
Is
trying,
it?
like, the whole thing, it's like concrete. Like, it's the Bear Trail forever. Like, it's not going anywhere.
wow, Uncle John, it's getting immortalized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's
he
great.
did that.
literally set in stone.
Literally said so. And then, yeah, Ann went to Baylor.
Yes, she did.
And, well, I mean, you went first, and then you receive the gospel, and then you go to Pastor Jimmy Seibert now, and he receives the gospel, and then started Antioch, and yeah, and Ann went to Baylor, and so yeah, I did not really think about the legacy of Waco. It's like, oh, this is like part of my family history, like not just me moving here in 07, but 40 plus years ago. And I'm
Right.
like, that's significant. Yeah.
And here we are back
And
in
here we are
Waco.
back in Waco.
Yeah.
Full circle. Kind of thing.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
cool. Okay, anyway. So you go from there, unless you have something, but I was going to move on to Dallas, but
Yeah. I was going to ask, when did you meet your wife?
Yes.
Was that at Baylor? Was that after? Is that part of the Dallas?
Some football dreams don't die. He looked across the field, and there was a cheerleader of the Dallas Cowboys.
Ooh, sounds intriguing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it wasn't that dramatic, but yeah. No, so
It is.
graduated from Baylor, went to Dallas, had some men mentoring me there in the business world, and in fact, one of them next door to my office was Roger Staubach. He was learning real estate at the time, and these men were mentoring him in some business things, but they were mentoring me in insurance and investments, and so, but as a business person, anyhow. This young lady came in to the office. Back then, they had to have the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders had to have a full-time job. So she was trying to find a job that really fit her skill set.
What? Mom was a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader?
Surprise, son.
What, Mom?
Sorry, I didn't tell you earlier.
38 years later.
But she came in and she was going to be talking to these people about doing a personality profile test or whatever. So there's an assistant there, secretary. She always tried to set me up with every girl that came in there, and I just told her to just stop. I don't have time for girls right now. And so anyhow, she called me and said, "Come up here and meet this girl." And I said, "I don't have time." She said, "If you don't come up here, I'm going to embarrass you. I'm going to bring her back there." And I said, "Okay, I'll come up."
God forbid.
Go up there, and we started talking.
And then I was born.
I went and not that quick, Preston. After I met her for just a few minutes, I went back to my secretary and said, I think I just met my wife.
Wow.
I didn't even know anything about her, really. So the short story is I called and asked if she would go out on a date. And she said, can I call you back? And I'm like, wait a minute. That's not like, is that like a no or is that a
I don't get
yes?
shut down.
And so she called me back, I think the next day she called me back and she said, yeah, I'll go out with you. And I'm thinking, okay, great. Well, what I found out later was that she was dating somebody. So she went and broke up with them and then called me back. So she had integrity with that.
The
So that
Riz was strong with
Way to
David
go.
Seibert.
That is solid.
Okay, and
Wow.
we talked about music. What was your first date?
Oh, so I
Which I think
asked her if she would go to the Amy Grant concert in
Yeah,
Yeah,
Dallas.
Michael W.
love
Smith.
And Michael W. Smith.
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't even Michael W. Smith
Well, he was
back then.
her keys
He was
player.
a little squeaky voice piano player in the
Shout out to
background.
Mikey.
So I took her there, and she didn't know who Amy Grant was, and I'm like, oh, well, then you know what? I don't know what to do here because I know she probably doesn't. I don't know where she is with the Lord, and I'm just not going to do missionary dating. So on the way back from the concert, I said, "Hey, where do you stand with the Lord?" And so we
Love
had
a
an
good
interesting.
first date question.
Hey,
It's the
I
cyber
like
way,
it.
baby. Just go for it.
Yeah. So she,
Take note, young men.
yeah, she said, well, I'm a good person. I went, okay, all right. So that's not the right answer, but I'm glad yes, okay. She goes to church every once in a while. That's good. So anyhow, what I decided to do is just really call her every once in a while just to check up on her. And anyhow, through our conversations, a month after that, she accepted the Lord, which was great.
Wow.
Awesome.
And then we got engaged.
That's awesome. I just love that Amy Grant was the spiritual litmus test of
Yes.
the 80s.
I mean, she was
She
like,
was.
like in the 80s. Oh yeah,
yes.
dude.
That's awesome. Yeah.
But I love, so you're living in Dallas, and then let's kind of jump ahead. I'm born, great time, and you were on
For
city
you.
council at Plano, Plano,
Yes.
Texas.
Yes.
Um,
Well, let me say
yeah,
that
go.
we're talking about audacious things, right? So I'm 32 years old, and I'm thinking, Lord, what am I supposed to be doing? Well, he said, he said, well, get into politics. 32, I'm nobody. I don't know anybody. I'm just like working, and so I had a friend of mine by the name of Ray Huffines, who owns Chevrolet in Plano and a lot of other dealerships. He's a little older than me, and he came to me and said, he knew me, and he said, hey, would you run against this incumbent? We just think you'd be the right person. I'm thinking, dude, I'm seriously. So you're talking about he's an incumbent. He's been there 2 terms. I'm nobody. And God brings this audacious opportunity, if you will, or humility, whatever, because I could get crushed on this. But hey, we went for it. And Melinda, my wife, was my campaign manager. She was awesome. We won. We won. And so, I served on city council at 32. I'm just this little punk, and all these. But anyhow, God had me there, and we did some great things. So that was an audacious.
How long were you on city council for?
I just did one term.
Just one term.
Because at the next thing, the Lord, audacious, Melinda told me, she said, what would you want to do if there's anything in the world? Money had nothing to do with it. What would you want to do? And I prayed about it, and I felt that the Lord told me that he wanted me to help impact culture through the medium of virtuous entertainment. And I went, Lord, how do I do that?
Mm-hmm.
How do you do that? So then the story goes,
Go.
at that point,
Take it.
I just started calling around, seeing if there's anybody in family entertainment or Christian entertainment.
Yeah. So for those listening, this is pre-LinkedIn.
Yes.
Pre-Facebook, pre-MySpace, which is really long ago.
Yeah. So I mean, tell us about how.
Oh, pre-phones. These
Cell
were
phone, yeah,
landlines.
yeah.
That's all you had was landlines.
So like, how do you even know who to call?
Yeah.
I feel like there's like, if I have a crazy idea, in the middle of the night right now. It's like,
You can Google it.
I'll lean over. I'll be like, hey, ChatGPT, come up with a game plan for this idea by morning. And then I can like roll out with it.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is next level, just zero data, all Jesus.
That's exactly right. You just
That's the title of the episode.
Zero
data, all Jesus.
Life with
Done.
David
Love
Seibert.
Yeah, no, it's just phone calls. Well, then I made a phone call to this company out in Irving, Texas called Nest Entertainment at the time. And I just called the president. I I just, and his secretary answers. And I said, hey, I'd like to meet with Steve Griffin, it was the president. And I told her, look, I don't know anything about you. You don't know anything about me, but I'd just like to learn more about your company and just like to meet with him. And she said, wait just a minute. She comes back. She goes, oh, he knows who you are. Come into the office.
What?
And I'm like, how does he know who I am? Well, because I was on city council, they televise it.
No way.
And so he was watching city council sessions that we had. And so he knew who I was. And I went in there, and this was a wonderful company. They were putting the animated Bible stories, and they were selling it all over the country.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I grew up on
Did
those.
you watch Nest?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
So-
animated one.
So I said, before I did the appointment, I said, hey, can my wife come with me? And they said, sure. So I'm sitting down here with Melinda, and we're talking. Steve's a pretty blunt kind of guy. Love him to this day. And he was talking about Nest Entertainment and what they do. And he goes, would you like to work here? And I go, well, let me pray about it. And he goes, David, Melinda.
yes.
He said, Melinda, should David work here? And she goes, well, I think he'd be great here. And he goes, you're hired. And I said, okay, I'm here, That was
love this so much.
it was fun. We had a blast. I had salespeople all over the country. I was putting them in. This was before you talk about crazy. This was Walmart, Sam's Club. They were really starting to really blossom. This was 1990. And so my job was to try to get our sales reps into malls, into places where they would put up a TV monitor and they would play the videos, and then they would sell subscriptions on site. So you get the first video for $19.99, and then you sign a subscription, you get them every month for $30,
Yeah.
And so I was able to get sales reps into Walmarts all over the country. And the way we did it was we put them there in the store, and the people come up, they would see the video. Well, then I negotiated with the buyers at Walmart that nothing would go through their cash register, that we would fill out all the forms, and every month I would
What?
send them a certain percentage of our sales. We did this for 5 months. We did about 10 million
You are
across the country.
kidding.
And then the president at the time of Walmart found out that nothing was going through their cash register. He shut it down so fast.
Yeah.
But I was like, well, we did pretty good. I didn't know that we weren't supposed to be doing it. The buyer just loved the videos and thought it was a great idea. I just said, this is what we're going to do. And he said, okay.
Yeah.
And we did it.
So did they change the deal, or did they cut it
Just cut
out
it.
completely? Did
They
they just
shut it down, but the Walmart managers loved what we did so much, they let some of them stay.
Oh, man.
So okay, but today we can go into AI or Google or whatever, and like, hey, I need help with marketing strategy. Blah blah. What were you reading at the time? Like, how did you come up with that idea? Did you just see it somewhere? It's like, put your stuff into Walmart.
Well, no, I just thought, where are the most trafficked places in the country? Malls at the time were huge. So I got him in. I made deals with management companies for malls all over the country. So I had all my people in malls, and that they go 9 in the morning till 9 at night, so you got traffic all the time going there. Then I thought, Walmart has a lot of stores, I even went into UA movie theaters and had them right in the lobby area. I had them everywhere that I thought people would be interested in family entertainment.
What was so you negotiate a deal, and then do you have to go out and hire salespeople after you negotiate a deal?
No, those salespeople were like in
Third-party
a
contractors?
territory. They were contractors, and they
Okay.
had part of a territory.
Okay.
And so then their job was to hire, like if somebody was in Los Angeles, then they hired people, in the different suburbs of LA, and then we just did that all over the country and did pretty good.
10 million in 5 months.
But Nest,
Oh, it was just
That's
like
fantastic.
Well, that is not single videos. That's the
Sure,
subscription.
yeah,
So it'd be like
but still.
$360 or something times, how
so
many people you get.
there's so much to touch on here, but Nest pivots into a different company. Is that right?
No, Nest
Yeah.
was going to, the president, Steve Griffin, was wanting to make Nest Entertainment the Christian hub of all product coming through it. And I don't think that's where the board wanted to go. And so they let him go. And so that was, but Nest Entertainment continued for years after that. But after that, then I decided to go into family entertainment. So I started consulting for some entertainment companies that did family entertainment out in Los Angeles. So went out there. So the whole idea of God leading me into, okay, what is it you want to do? Make an impact in culture with medium of virtuous entertainment. So this was the path that I was.
Are
going
you like
through.
walking down the line going, God, you're doing it? Or is this only in hindsight? It's like, oh, God did it.
No, he's doing it. I mean, I'm just like taking the next step. But the biggest step was, we're talking about Audacious. I mean, I had some investors from South Africa contact me in 1994, and they said, "Hey, David, we heard that you do family entertainment. You've done marketing, around the country. Could you put a business plan together so that you could sell these films?" And these films they were putting the Bible on film, word for word, using Hollywood actors. And they did the Book of Matthew and the Book of Acts at the time. They just had the film. They didn't really have any packaging or anything like that. Back then, it was video, right? So Matthew, if it's word for word, it's in 4 videos in a box set.
Okay.
So they had the exclusive rights to the NIV translation on film worldwide. Okay. So
It's so hard to comprehend. nowadays, but-
licensing the Bible.
Audacious would be, we're going to put every book on film. All right. Each film took about 1.5 to 2 years to make.
Mhm.
At the time, $5 million, 66 books. How long would that take? Yeah. So not even in my lifetime. So it's so big that it's like crazy to be that big.
Like $500 million to do.
Yeah. And so
Of 1990
So-
money.
here I am. I'm 30. I think I'm 30, 36, 37,
Yeah.
something like that.
Uh-huh.
Preston,
And
how old
this,
are you?
is, this is the
I'm
deal that
7.
they gave me. They said, David, we'll give you $100,000 cash, 2 films, but we're going to give you all the rights, and it's going to be a license deal. So you have the license worldwide, but you pay us $40,000 a month for the licensing fee. How many months do I have of cash?
100.
2.5
Mhm.
months.
Yeah.
Right? I'm 37. I go, I'll do that deal.
Wait, you have kids at this point?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
me and Brandon.
Wow.
Yeah. Woo. I'm like, all I can say is I'm looking back going, I would never do that deal.
Yeah.
And was Melinda encouraging you again from the sideline saying, yeah, let's do that?
She was encouraging. Yes. I'm like, what? Well, back then I'm just like, sure, I'll do it. And so the
Golly.
interesting part is,
I don't think I didn't know that.
yeah, but I mean, you're talking about Audacious, like you're talking tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars over something, 60 years to complete this. And I'm saying, oh yeah, I'll do that. It's like, what?
Okay, so same game plan is sneak people into Walmarts and set up.
No,
So what you do?
no. In fact, I changed my whole philosophy was I'm going to sell direct to people.
Okay.
So you have no databases. You don't have all this stuff. Just how do I sell direct to people? So we did an infomercial back then there were two ways of really getting Christian product out. One was all these TV evangelists that have all of these people that watch their
Like TBN and 700 Club stuff. Yeah.
so they say, hey, buy this $50 donation, you get this or whatever.
Buy this
So I started
1-year
thinking-
supply of Patriot food, like freeze-dried food.
Exactly. But my product, I priced it at $100 at the time. Yeah, but it only cost me $10 to produce. So the margins were pretty good. So I just had to sell a few. But anyhow, you're talking about trying to start from nothing. I had money in the bank. I had a $40,000 payment, in a few weeks, the first payment, and I had no office, no phone. You don't. So I had a friend of mine said, "Hey, you can go in my little kitchen area if you want." So I brought my own phone, plugged it in. The only phone that I had was a phone that anytime I made a phone call, the 4 got stuck. So it's like, wow. So anyhow,
So you just called a law firm over and over and over again. 444, 44444.
No, it got stuck. I wouldn't have been able to call them.
For those of you born after the year 2000, we're talking about a landline phone with real buttons, not a screen.
Have you been
Yes,
injured?
exactly.
Call 444 4444. Or do you want to sell a Christian product? Call 444.
Oh, so I just kept dialing people and talking to ministries, anybody had TV programs. And so 2 months went by, I hadn't sold any. So I'm $20,000. I got 20,000 left.
I had no idea. And we're going to private school at this time too.
You are.
Yeah. Awesome.
By God's grace.
Yeah.
We talk about burn rate. That's solid.
Yeah.
20,000 left. So I'm like, wow, Lord, you're going to have to do something here. So I made a phone call to, at the time, John Hagee Ministries out of San Antonio. He was like on every channel there was in the United States.
Blood moon.
And so they called and said, hey, we'd like to consider selling some of our product as a premium on our TV networks. And I said, fine. And they called me back and said, is there something special we can do? And I said, well, why don't we try to do a show about the book of Acts and we'll sell the product. And they went for it. And they said, well, you got to come to the studio and it's going to cost. And I said, I'll pay for it. I paid $10,000 to pay for the whole thing. But I told him, I said, I'm going to spend $10,000. Let's do the show. I said, how many will you buy? And he said, 20,000 units. I made $40. That was $800,000 and the company started. With 10,000 left.
Glorious.
So 2.5 months,
Oh.
you burned down 90,000,
Yes.
and you're down to $10,000.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, is this like a one-time payment, or how does this?
I made him pay 30 days because I had to make a payment of $40,000.
This is awesome. Well, I did not know this about your story, and that is just
My
fantastic.
father like son. It's like I'm in the office here with Preston getting some
Like,
of this.
that and things like that is the Audacious Playground.
That's right.
Like, there's things that you walk into, and entrepreneurs talk about it's like, oh, if I was to do it all over again, I wouldn't agree to that deal, like you're saying, right? But there's something in the story. There's something that God does in partnership that's like He covers mistakes.
Yes.
I don't know. Sometimes it feels like He even builds it in, right? But
Yes.
that's just incredible. I love that so much. That's amazing. So you record the show, and then it airs. What happens next?
Do they sell all these units? Do you?
They sold them all.
And then do they come back for more?
Oh, no. After he started on air, everybody wanted them.
Wow.
So we ended up doing, in 4 years, we ended up doing a little over 20 million in sales, which was, and I only had 4 employees. We did it worldwide. I only had 4 employees.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, okay. Remember, we didn't have, we just started having computers. The internet just kind of started, but you had the AOL, when you log on, but you still had landlines, didn't have phones. You just flew to meet people and you just talked to people on a phone. You didn't see them on a video. You just talked to them on a phone. And
So
Yeah.
with the thing, so you're doing VHS, but we talk a lot about AI and like the turn of technology and stuff. You started seeing something. I think that we should press into this, uh, and this episode is going to go a little longer because you have more story. But uh, tell me about real quick about DVDs.
Okay. So back then it's VHS, right? So technology was trying to evolve where you can take those video cassettes because you had to fast forward, press forward or reverse to try to get to a place you want. Sound wasn't, it was just linear sound. And so there was a company coming out with the idea of a product called DivX, was a digital format of putting it on a disc. Well, there was a consortium of other manufacturers, Panasonic, Pioneer, Sony. They were trying to figure out how do we compete with this. So they came up with this idea of DVD, you know? And so you kind of heard about it, it was so technology way out there. But I get a call from the president of it was IBM, president of IBM Interactive. And he calls me, he goes, "Hey, I saw your film, Matthew." And he goes, "We have been commissioned with a consortium to come up with this new product called DVD. And we'd like to use the Bible to do it because you have verses and then you got different
Yeah, it's able to do
different
chapters.
scenes that you can see. Yeah, you can do chapters, stuff like that." And I'm like, "I heard about this DVD thing." He goes, "It hasn't been done yet, but we're trying to figure it out." So he goes, "Come out to our facility." So I go out to Atlanta, and it's like a Star Trek episode. You have these monitors that are huge. They're up on these screens, all these programmers underneath it, and they had our film up there, and they were programming stuff. And I'm like, "What?" So I'm thinking to myself, "This is crazy." So you had the Bible, then Gutenberg put it into print, then we put it on film. All right, everybody put
And then David
film.
Seibert put
And
it on
now
DVD.
Visual Entertainment, my company, is going to be the first ever, the Bible on DVD, the new technology. And it was hilarious. I'm going to some of these conventions where the major studios are there, and we got a little booth, and I'm not pulling it out, but I have it in my back pocket. I have a DVD. They're selling these VHS, everything. I'm thinking,
Losers.
now you got to remember technology. You got to have, there's a time for it to be embraced, right?
Yeah, early
And then there's price
adopters.
points.
Yeah.
So at the time, a DVD player, when it came out, the DVD player, like $800, $1,000, so there wasn't mass production of it. But then a year later, it came so far down that we were able to sell the DVD. But we were the first DVD ever done.
And the sales
The Bible.
keep going up.
Keep going. Sales keep going.
Wow.
Do I feel like there's an abrupt end to this company's growth, or
Yes.
There's an abrupt end.
okay?
Which we should
that's
probably make this a 2-part interview.
That could be a comeback. But it has an abrupt end.
Yes.
It does have an abrupt end.
How did that go?
Which this is
In a
I think where everything, like where my story starts to come in and like
Yes.
life starts to change, and I started seeing kind of the audacity of God in both like the pain and like the goodness of God and all that stuff. So
And what year is this? Where are we at now?
99, 2000.
1999.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But let me say this before I go on. We're talking about business. We're talking about things that are audacious and fun and some not so fun. But at the same time, one of the things that I think is real important is for any man or woman that are in the business world, what we're talking about, the things that we're doing are not the most important things, number one. Number two is that is not our identity. Our identity is not in being successful at whatever job or whatever thing you do. So that's very important. That's not our identity. I didn't know that when I was younger. That was my identity, right? So here you are, president of a company that's doing 20 million in sales. You got all these venture capital people coming to you, want to buy your company. We're like, as a board, we're saying, you know what? We need capital. Remember, we're doing 66 books, $5 million a piece. That's a lot of capital back then. And so we're looking for investors, right? So this is where the beginning of the end happens. So we have all these investors. I'm interviewing as they come in. I'm wanting to find out, do they get it? Do they understand this is God's word? We're a business model, but we're a ministry. Right? But we're funded by a business model. And so the board and I, from the very beginning, that was our mantra. We are going to be a ministry, but we're going to be funded through a business model. And so God was blessing, all those things are happening. So these investors come in, and I'm talking to so many of these venture capital groups, and they're like, they don't get it. They're thinking it's a money play. And I'm saying, this is not a money play. This is a ministry. And so long story short is there was one investor group out of Canada that came, and they were off in the world. And I had one of my friends who was in Wall Street. I said, check these guys out. Tell me what. And he goes, David, run. They do not have money. So I told the board, I said, we can't consider these people. And they go, oh, no, we need to consider them. Long story short, I got outvoted 3-1. I was president of the company. And I wrote a letter to the board before they signed the deal. And I said, look, this is one of those things where this is God's word. We just can't give it to anybody. And I said, it's no different than Ark of the Covenant being touched by Uzzah and dying. I said, this could die if it's not in the right hands. And they were seeing money because these guys were saying they were going to go public with it. And I said, first of all, we shouldn't go public with it, number one. Number two is they're saying, oh, we're going to go at $30 a share. I said, you'd be lucky to get $1 a share for right now. And so it was just crazy how they were just, I think, deceived by money. And so I resigned as president. They sold the company. And these people were not good people. So anyhow, 6 months, this is where you come in, where we moved. We're in Dallas. 6 months after they sold the company, the chairman of the venture capital group called me and said, the wheels are falling off. Can you come help us? And I can say at that time, I don't think I really prayed about it. I just saw my baby that developed from nothing. Remember, I'm in a closet with a telephone with the fork getting stuck and started from nothing. I'm seeing this thing fall apart. And I said, Melinda, we're going. They had moved it to Nashville at the time. So we moved, Preston, all three of the kids. We moved, took everybody, sold everything, went up to Nashville. And within 90 days, after talking to them, understanding what they were doing, how they were doing it, that they were not good people. And I had to tell them, what you're doing is not going to work. And I left again. And so I left twice. Yeah.
And we had moved. We just moved.
So anyhow, to tell you that where it ended, so that ended for me right there. But 3 years later, it went bankrupt. They bankrupted it. So now you can see it for free on YouTube, called The Visual Bible.
You go.
Shout out.
One way or another. Still got out.
Wait,
Yeah.
who's making that money like for every view?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I wonder where they tied that royalty back to. So
Yeah.
that is early 2000s by that point, I would guess.
That was
Probably
2000. 2000.
Okay.
We're in Nashville, and we're like, Lord, do we move back to Dallas? We don't know anybody here, whatever. And we had couples in Dallas pray, and then we got back together. I told them to pray for 2 weeks, got back together, and every one of them to a person said, we felt the Lord told you to stay there. I'm like, we did too. We don't know what we're doing here. So for 2 years, just fast forward 2 years, I couldn't get a job. It was just the craziest thing. I was thinking, man, I'm going to go to Home Depot or something. I had to get some money. We lived sold everything, moved into an apartment, and prayed a lot. That's what we did. We just prayed a lot.
I'm curious, following Jesus after the sale of this, there's this thing that I like what you said about your identity is not in the business. It's in knowing who you are. was that something you were thinking about at that time? Like, what was your prayer life or relationship with God look like for you personally right then?
Very close.
Okay.
Very close. Just
Like practically, like, is this
yeah,
up in the morning reading the Bible? Is
yes,
this? Yeah.
yes. I that I just stayed consistent to. I mean, what else was I to hold on to? I mean, I'm going to hold on to God's word.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pray. I'm going to read God's word, and I'm going to ask Him to move. And the hard part is you do it every day and nothing's moving,
Yeah.
right? And nothing's moving. It's not like 2 weeks. 2 weeks, probably somebody can handle it. A month, you could probably handle it. 2 years?
Yeah. So
Mhm.
'cause I feel that in the tension of intros say, what did you do this past week? I did all these things. But the reality is, like, I feel demoralized on like a regular basis of I feel like I'm just praying and nothing's moving forward.
Yes.
And um what do I do? Like, the people listening here, watching right here, how do they get the faith to do that? Is it just
Well,
asking a stupid
yeah.
question, asking for a friend, asking for like, how do I not lose faith and keep going?
Well, it's not every day I was like, oh, this is going to be fine. No, I mean, there were days that were hard. There were days that Lynn and I struggled. We were like, not happy some days, and some days we were, but at the same time, we were trying to invest in our children and let them know that, you know what, this doesn't define us. We're just going to continue to work as a family, and nobody went without food. And hey, as far as we know, you all have said that was the best place you ever lived because they had a pool right below you, and life was good,
Wow.
So as a child, you probably didn't know. I don't know what you were experiencing back then. I know you were mad
Well, I
about.
had a lot of anger issues. And yeah, but it's always the hindsight thing. Like and I can go here and then come back, and I've said this a lot. It's like if that move when it had happened, I
Right.
wouldn't be doing what I'm
That's
doing now.
exactly
I wouldn't
right.
have learned music. Brandon and myself wouldn't have learned music,
Right.
and that is not who we are, but it is an
Yes.
integral part of who we are and what we do. And
God made that move. He made it good.
I mean,
He
great,
made it good, and he redeemed it. And because today you and Preston and
Brandon.
Stephanie
I am Preston.
play instruments and are worship leaders because of that move. Otherwise, I don't think that would have ever
I don't think it
happened.
would have either.
So thank you, Lord.
Yeah.
Right? Thank you, Lord.
I
Now,
agree.
I don't know how long I want to go with this, but there's another part of this story.
Oh, yeah, yeah. John Mark has a stop in about
I'm
15 minutes,
No, less than that.
10 minutes,
But
Yeah.
we'll keep going.
but I want to use
After
every
I leave,
minute.
okay, I
Because
can
the
walk out.
thing
That's
I
fine.
hate
A
the
little,
most
but yeah.
is getting into a podcast and they're like, and then we'll get the rest of it on another episode. It's like,
Well, we could, if that's what would be.
let's use the time that we got. That's my vote.
Yeah, I agree. And don't.
How much time do you have?
Yeah, if this is like, we're falling out of a plane, building our parachutes to go down. Like, I guess I'll just slowly fade into the distance of this podcast and keep listening to David talk. But I'll just sign out my laptop and you just keep talking.
Don't
Well,
sign
the
out.
thing
Don't
is,
sign out because
I
it will
can,
close. It will. Oh dang!
Well, I have
You
to
got to
go.
take your laptop.
I can finish this story. Yeah, I could.
Yeah, let's finish this
in 5
season.
or
And
6
then if we
minutes.
need to continue, if our time end is now, then we're good. And then
Okay.
we'll pick up another time because
So
this
just
is really
to
cool.
put this in a little bow, the visual entertainment company thing, I leave, right? However, they're supposed to be paying me for my stock.
Mm-hmm.
They decide not to pay me. So I'm thinking to myself, I have no money. I don't have a job. I can't pay an attorney $250 an hour to get my money, right? So Melinda and I prayed about it and we said, Lord, that's your money. That's your money. And so we didn't do anything. I got a job eventually with Lifeway Christian Resources in Nashville. And it was that's another whole story. However, I'm working there. I get a phone call in my office, and it's the biggest law firm in Nashville. One of the partners called me and said, "Hey, we heard you didn't get paid on a company you sold." And I said, "Yes, it's a long story, but they didn't pay me, and all we do is we gave it to the Lord. It's His money because 2 years had passed.
Yeah.
They didn't give me a dime.
Wow.
And so I said, don't worry about it. We can't afford you. And he goes, that's fine. He goes, will you come to our office and just tell us the story? And I said, sure, I'll do that. So we scheduled time. I go up there and there's like 6 partners there. And they said, tell us your story. So I told them the story that I told you. And they said, by the way, do you have signed documents that show that they owe you the money? I said, I brought them with me. I said, yeah, they're right here. They looked at them and they said, we'll give you a call tomorrow. And I said, fine. So they call me and they go, David, we want to take your case. And I said, look, I can't afford you guys. I appreciate it. Thank you. And they go, no, no, no. Don't even worry about it. We're going to get your money back. And I go, like, no money? Like, I don't owe anything. Go, we'll figure it out, but just don't worry about it. Let us do our thing. And I said, fine. Anyhow, there's some fun little stories along the way. They would call me every once in a while. A year and a half later. Now think about it. If an attorney's working on a case for a year and a half, how much do you think the bill would be?
Yeah.
In the millions, right? In the
Crazy.
millions. So they call me and go, David, we just found out that they're about to go bankrupt. They're about 2 months away from bankruptcy. And they said they will give you X, which was not even a third of what they owe me. They said, look, take this or you're probably not going to get anything. I said, all right, let's take it. So they wired the money that day. And you know what? They said, let's go celebrate. And I'm thinking to myself, how much do I owe you?
Yeah.
And they $15,000 is all I had to pay them
Wow.
for a year and a half of work. But they felt their firm from the Lord that needed to be done. And so Lord's money, Lord decided to give us this much. We're grateful and we're thankful. And He used other people to do it.
Wow.
I think that's part one.
Yeah. I think the
Um,
plane has been landed.
for the first leg of the flight.
Yeah.
Note to self, Preston, schedule more time next time.
Yeah, oops, sorry. But I'm very thankful, and yeah, well, we're gonna do part 2. But you and Mom have taught me how to live on God's audacious playground and to move forward and to live in faith, and in the midst of pain and trial, to continue to press in to Jesus. So thankful for that.
Yeah. I think I'm walking away from this just reminded of step by step. As an entrepreneur, so often I dream of that final step where you reach it, you've made it, and it's gonna be lots of days, but I that's the one I dream about. That final platform where you've made it, and it's just each day you just gotta take one step. Like I was praying this morning and journaling, I felt like God said one little thing, and I'm challenged even right now. Like I just gotta do that one thing. Like there's a lot of things on my plate that I could go after. I just got to, but God said to do that one thing. And so that's what I wanted to do. And then the other one was knowing who you are. It's been a big part of what I've been learning the last few months, just knowing. So, like, Jesus, who am I? And so I'm a son of the King. I'm made in His image. I'm a joy to be with. I'm kind. I'm handsome and whole. And it's just like, okay, this is who I am. It's not the other things around me, but it's like hearing that, writing it down, believing it. Um, and your story is so encouraging. So
Good.
Yeah. David, thank you. That was awesome.
You bet. You bet.
Part
And
2 to
that-
come.
Gentlemen, is another one in the books. We'll catch you again next week.
bum, bum, bum.